So what's going on guys, Kate is here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Demon Hunter build in Diablo Immortal. So at the start I will explain how to play this class, then we will look into the best skills, rotations and attributes that you want to use. Then later we will go over the awakening, best stones, where to use your paragon levels, and even which gems you want to use on your gear. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay, so you would know how to get out your abilities, the highest damage possible and much more. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So the Demon Hunter in the endgame can do insane amount of damage to groups of enemies while moving around the battlefield, making him amazing for leveling, farming and endgame dungeons. As you can attack while moving, this allows the Demon Hunter to constantly deal damage while positioning yourself out of harm's way. And then lastly, if this wasn't good enough, then you can simultaneously activate your Vengeance and Reign of Vengeance skills to become the highest single target damage dealer in the game, and much more. So then let's move over to the build. And for your skills you want to go with the crossbow shot, Vengeance, Reign of Vengeance, multi-shot and daring swing. So first of all, the first ability is called crossbow shot, which is a basic attack that shoots an arrow while moving at reduced speed. But then for your ultimate ability you get a volley, which will upgrade your crossbow basic shots for 12 seconds, increasing its damage per hit, launching volleys of arrows and increasing your movement speed. Overall, this is the best primary attack for Demon Hunter, as it can be fired while moving, it is used in every build and in every game mode. And then on top of everything else, in the endgame we will use a specific legendary that will improve the skill even more. Then moving over to the second ability, which is the Vengeance. And this skill will transform you into a demon, and this will make your primary attack shoot 2 additional shots. And then as well you get a passive that increases your movement speed by 3% every second. Overall, this is the best buff that increases your damage, and because of our gear, which I will cover later in the video, we will be able to have a buff 24/7. Then for the next ability we have the Reign of Vengeance, and this ability fires a massive amounts of arrows in the air that later rains down for a few seconds, dealing damage to all enemies in the area. Overall, this skill is one of our best AoE damage skills that we unlock early on. I recommend to use it often on large packs of enemies or bosses. So then for the next ability we have the multi-shot, and this skill shoots a bunch of arrows dealing damage to all enemies in that direction. You can use it for up to 3 charges. Overall, this is another amazing skill that every Demon Hunter build uses because of its high AoE damage and because of our gear that will also give us the ability to burn the enemies alive. And then lastly, the fifth ability is called Daring Swing, and when you use it your character will swing a rope to a nearby location, dealing damage to enemies on the way, while they cannot attack you, and you can use it of maximum of 2 charges. This is a very simple but fun mobility skill that you can use to avoid damage or just to run around the dungeon a lot faster. So then moving over to the rotation, and you first of all want to start by running around the map or dungeon and aggro all the monsters, but then when all enemies are pretty close to each other, then you want to use the Reign of Vengeance to do damage and slow the enemies. Then activate the Vengeance, and then from here we just keep on spamming crossbow shot and multi-shot as much as possible. Whenever you need to find more enemies or if you ever get in trouble, then use the Daring Swing to reposition yourself, and remember that your main strength lies in doing damage while moving, so while you're doing this rotation don't forget about that. So then let's go over to the Demon Hunter attributes, and the main attribute that you want to get for Demon Hunter is Strength, and then secondary attribute is Fortitude. The way you achieve this is by using equipment that either way has Strength or Fortitude. And for your weapons you first of all want to prioritize how much damage it does, and then secondary the attribute. So then moving over to your equipment, and this is how your gear should look like. So first of all, for your offhand you want to go with the Hungerer and put in the Lightning Core gem. We chose this item because of his perks that will make your crossbow shot now pierce through the enemies, and if you awaken, then your crossbow shot damage will be increased by 10%. Then for the main hand we want to go with the Flame Spite and put in the Power and Command gem. We chose this item because of its perks that will make your multi-shot ability now set enemies on fire, and if you awaken this item, then your multi-shot cooldowns will be reduced by 10%. Then moving over to the next one, which is the Leg Armor, and we want to go with the Cuffs and Relenting Fury. And we put in the Fervent Fang gem. We picked this item because of the perks that give your Vengeance increased damage, and if you awaken then you will get 10% decreased cooldowns on the same Vengeance skill. Then moving over to the shoulders, and we want to go with the Hellstone, and we put in the Everlasting Torment gem. The perks will make your Reign of Vengeance do more damage by giving the enemies a frost effect, And if you awaken, then your cooldowns get reduced by 10% for the Reign of Vengeance. Then for one of the last items we have the chest armor called the Heart of Vengeance, and we put in the Carson's Invigoration gem. The perks will give your vengeance 50% and 10% additional cooldowns if you awaken this item. And then lastly we have the helmet called Vision of the Lost, and you want to put in the Berserker's Eye gem. The perks will make your vengeance ability that each time you kill a monster, your vengeance skill gets 0.2% added to the buff. And then if you awaken, then you get 10% more cooldown decrease. Then for your charm, you want to get this exact piece that gives all of your skills that you use damage increase. And then last but not the least, for your neck, you want to go with the Burning Heart of the Shalbass and socket in the Aquamarine, Citroen and Ruby gem. Then for both of your fingers get the same ring, which is called the Braided Serpent of the Shalbass, and socket in the Tourmaline. Then for your hands get the Dozen Sharks of Shalbass and socket in 3 Tourmaline gems. Then for your waist get the Storm Tack of Shalbass and socket in 3 Topaz gems. And then lastly for your feet, get the Wind Troughs of Shalbass and socket in 3 Sapphire gems. And then just before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to clarify a few things on the armor. The exact items and gems I'm showing you are the best of the best, but it does not mean that you have to get perfect 5 out of 5 star gems or rank 20 items, but you simply use whatever is best and available on your character, and then bit by bit try to get these items and gems, and then this is how your final version of the endgame build will look like. So then moving over to the awakening, and like I mentioned, for each gear, legendary items in Diablo Immortal can be awakened. To unlock another perk on your item, to awaken a legendary item you need the item itself and a legendary gem at rank 10. As this feature is meant for late game, so don't try to expect all items be awakened right away, but your priority should be awakening the offhand called the Hungerer first, then the chest armor called the Heart of Vengeance, then your head armor called Vision of the Lost, and then lastly your leg armor called Cuff's Unrelenting Fury. And then from here you can awaken whatever item you want in whatever order you prefer. So then moving over to the gems, and we already covered the best gems that you want to use on your items in the gear section of this video. But in case if you can't get your hands on the best gems, then in meanwhile I want to give you a few best alternatives that will be good as well. So the best starter legendary gems are Berserker's Eye, Everlasting Torment, Carson's Invigoration, Fervent Fang, Lightning Core and Power and Command. And then for normal gems you want to get Tourmaline, Sapphire and Citroen. All of these gems will be useful and good alternatives. So then moving over to the charm, and like I said in the gear part of this video, you want to use this charm that will give bonuses to Crossbow Shot, Vengeance, Reign of Vengeance, Multi-Shot and Daring Swing, and this is the best of the best, but especially at the beginning, it's not that easy to get. So if this is the case, then your charm priority should be on having Crossbow Shot, Reign of Vengeance, Multi-Shot and then lastly the Daring Swing. If you have a charm with few of these abilities, then that is already really good, but now you know at least what bonuses are the best and how much they are worth by ranking each one. And then lastly, like Alpha Snow, we can upgrade and rank up our gear and gems by salvaging gems and those items that we don't use. But there's one last final endgame feature, and it's called the Family Bonus Stones. So when one of your primary 6 gear pieces reach rank 6, you can reforge that gear piece and improve it even more by putting in a reforging stone. And the 3 best stones for Demon Hunter is Vengeance Stone, Wildfire Stone and Ravager Stone. But like I've said many times, all of this is meant for super late game. So just try to get as high rank on your items as possible, and then just bit by bit start upgrading them with stones. So then moving over to the last and most important feature, which is the Paragon system. So you start gaining Paragon levels after hitting level 60. Each level grants you 1 Paragon point that you can allocate into any open category. In total there are 5 categories and each one gives you more defense, XP bonuses and much more. So then for your Demon Hunter, right after you reach max level and start gaining Paragon levels, you want to put your points into the Vanquisher category. And this is how your first 50 Paragon points should look like. So I recommend to unlock first of all the first damage node, then the second damage node and then the Wrath, and then from here you can unlock all the other nodes in whatever order you prefer. But then as I expect many players will be playing and watching this video many months in the game, so then for the players with Paragon level 100, this is how your Paragon tree should look like. And then lastly with players that have 150 points, then this is how your tree should look like in the very late game, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Diablo Immortal builds that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have a nice day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.